triangle in occult history. In occultist Aleister Crowley's teaching, the eye in the triangle represents Satan himself. Santana stated, quote, "I know it sounds New Age, but in my meditation, this entity, which is called Metatron, he said, we want to hook you back to the radio airwave frequency. We want to reach junior high schools, and universities. Once you reach them, because we are going to connect you with the best artists of the day, then we want you to present them with a new menu. Let them know that they themselves are multidimensional spirits with enormous possibilities and opportunities. We want you to present them with a new form of existence that transcends religion, politics, or the modus operandi of education today. This country was founded with the Bible in one hand and guns in the other." Carlos Santana said that these spirits, which as we shall see in a little bit, were actually devils, had supernaturally brought different musicians to him and worked in the musical arena to bring them all together for this Landside album appropriately called Supernatural. Santana said, "I heard this entity wanted me to know I would be hooked up with the right writers, musicians, and producers for the purpose of reaching high school and college kids, so my inner instructions were clear." He said that Eric Clapton wanted to know if he could play on the album. He said all the people who played on the record said that they had heard my music before I called them, or that I appeared to them in dreams or something. Santana said they knew what was coming before they got the call. Joe Cocker, like many other rock artists, has admitted that when he performs, something seizes control of his body. Van Halen's former frontman, David Lee Roth, didn't only sing about running with the devil. He also said in an interview about the assistance demonic beings give him when he goes on stage. David Lee Roth said, "I'm going to abandon my spirit to them," which is exactly what I attempt to do. You work yourself into that state, and you fall into the suffocation of the demon gods. Many think that bands like 311 are safe. Many of these bands mock Christianity and purport Crowley's satanic teaching. In fact, here on the inside cover of their album Transmitter, a closer look reveals Crowley's teaching, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law."
If there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alone there. It's just a sprinkling for the May Queen. Yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on.
Now, it would be extremely difficult to sing a song where sentences, and in Led Zeppelin's case, a whole paragraph is grammatically correct both forward and backwards. My guess is this is an example of a muse singing and not a human. But the music industry isn't alone. For example, here's Alan Moore, the original author of the much-analyzed movie V for Vendetta.
Alan Moore, who wrote the books that these movies are based upon, Alan Moore is actually a practitioner of Satanist Aleister Crowley's black magic. Moore has stated, quote, "I'd known about Crowley ever since I was 12, when I had my spate of reading Dennis Wheatley occult paperbacks and being told that Aleister Crowley was the wickedest man in the world. There are references to Crowley in V for Vendetta. He also claims to be in touch with a demonic entity that is, quote, highly skilled in mathematics and in the visual arts." Moore describes a similar experience of his own that mirrors the transformation that V went through as a result of practicing Crowley's Satanism when he opened up the door to possession by what he describes as a demonic entity. Moore stated, "I decided I was going to become a magician. All of a sudden the lightning bolt hit. It all got a bit strange. For a couple of months after that, I was looking back probably in some borderline schizophrenic state. I was very spaced out, God-struck. You babble for a while, babble like an idiot. I must have been unbearable for 2 or 3 months. I've integrated that now into the rest of my life." Moore not only admits to becoming demon-possessed after practicing Crowley's magic, but admits that his objective was to become a more effective writer. V for Vendetta is actually a diabolical propaganda film wherein Aleister Crowley's New World Order run by the Nietzschean Superman is outlined in his satanic manifesto, The Book of the Law. Alan Moore, who wrote V for Vendetta, both Wachowski movies, that both of these people claim to be possessed by spirit entities. Alan Moore actually calling his a demon. Like Dick, Keanu Reeves has claimed that he is used by demonic forces while acting. Reeves claims that he cannot act until the muse arrives, and that he takes what he refers to as, quote, demon rides, end quote. Director Taylor Hackford revealed that one of the reasons Keanu Reeves was chosen to play the lead role of Satan's son in The Devil's Advocate was because Keanu is, quote, a guy with lots of demons in him, and I was trying to tap and utilize that. Another example in which V is portrayed as the devil is that he introduces himself before he commits a murder with the first lines from the Rolling Stones song Sympathy for the Devil. Please allow me to introduce myself. I am a man of wealth and taste. Notice that V is depicted in this caption at the end of his declaration as a devil with horns. V, as in several other places throughout V for Vendetta, reveals his identity as not just a satanic figure, but as Satan himself. Sympathy for the Devil is the first-person narrative in which the words leave no doubt as to who is supposed to be singing. The words are even more chilling when you realize that Keith Richards, who admitted to the Los Angeles Times that he's possessed by as many as 4 or 5 demons, and that the Stones songs are channeled through them and arrive in mass in the same way that a medium channels spirits at a seance. It does not take long to see what kind of spirits the Stones are channeling with songs like Sympathy for the Devil and albums like their Satanic Majesty's Request.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste.
Eve then says, are we going to do something or not? V responds by quoting Aleister Crowley and saying, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Eve responds, quoting Aleister Crowley isn't good enough. It doesn't answer my question. I want to know what thou wilt, V.
George Lucas's Star Wars is another perfect example where not only have the characters been yanked out of real life, but the heroes and villains have been reversed. Take, for instance, Darth Vader, formerly Anakin Skywalker. This guy comes closer to Jesus Christ than any other non-Jesus character in the history of film. He was immaculately conceived, found by a wise man by the will of a supernatural force, declared the chosen one, prophesied to come, powerful magical abilities, wants to preserve life with his magical abilities, rejected by the temple leaders, storms the temple, becomes the leader of a large army, puts down a rebellion. If you're not with him, you're against him, and had a Swedish woman named Pernilla August play as your mother in a movie made in 1999. Pretty clear where George was going with this character. But it's not just Vader, Yoda too.
According to the Masonic reference works that you can get in any library, the Freemasonic Orders of Europe said that there was a little ideologue, a little spiritual entity that gave the knowledge to what the Masons call our hidden masters. That's what Freemasonry refers to those who lead world Freemasonry. They don't know who they are. No Freemason knows who the actual leaders of the world organization are. They call them our hidden masters. Well, according to the reference works, there is a little spiritual entity that guides the world Freemasonry, and they call him Yoda. And in the reference works, you'll see this little creature with the pointed ears, and he's called Yoda. Yoda goes back to Judah, or Judah, which goes back into British Israel World Freemasonry, going back to the time of the founding of England.
Now look at all the time it took me to convince you of all this. I'm not done editing yet, but this could easily end up being 40 minutes long. Now watch Hollywood tell you what I just did in 40 seconds.
I used to be an abstract.
Now I'm really confused.
I'm amused, stupid. Got a body, $50, and got sent out into the world to make my fortune. I used to specialize in entertainment. For example, I'm responsible for 19 of the 20 top grossing films of all time. Yeah, the one about the kid by himself in his house, burglars trying to come in and he fights them off. I had nothing to do with that one. Somebody sold their soul to Satan to get the grosses up on that piece of shit. Well, you remember why I left, right?
Because you were tired of doing all the work and getting none of the credit for your idea.
Understand this. Humanity, our very seed, is under attack. We are in a time of great revealing. Don't waste it. Tell your neighbors, friends, and family. Get the word out. And I'd like to thank guys like Alex Jones who are getting the word out, and guys like JFK who tried to get the word out. And now it's your turn. Good luck, and God help us all.